Big deal right now. We're gonna crank this dude up. Now we're gonna go backwards. Fellas, this is kind of a dream happening right now. May sound a little odd, but I've got a Hellcat-powered Winnebago right now. Yeah, I do. And you can say it's got a blind spot. Woo-wee! We fixing to drive this dude up here into the shop. Put some fancy paint on it. Well, we're back on this big old gnarly Winnebago project that we've been working on for several months. And you can obviously tell from where you're at that things are a little bit different from what they were before. We sprayed on several coats of the sour apple green from his Summit Racing. And then we've also put on a big fancy stripe back here running down the side. Now, if you'll notice, this one has got an H as opposed to the W, which a lot of these things had from the factory. You guys know what that stands for. You could say Hemi, or you could just say the Hemi-bago. Now, we've been doing some other stuff to it, you know, kind of tidying up some of the loose ends on it. And one of them, well, we've addressed those side pipes. That's over here on this side. My solution to help prevent that hot lap to the ER is wrapping these things with some of this DEI Titanium wrap. Now, it's basically like a fiberglass cloth, and it comes in these little bitty strips. It comes in a roll. Now, I've wound up having to order an additional roll because I ate up so much just doing this one over here on the side, but man, it really does look the part. I also painted the front and back of the side pipe with some black VHT paint, and if you notice back there at the tip, I put a little pizzazz in it. And you never know, I may end up putting a light inside of this thing just to add, you know, a little bit of some character to it. But now with this stuff, it's a little bit more to it than just wrapping it around there. So what I thought I'd do is have a little demonstration. Let's go over here on the other side. All right, now if you're gonna be fooling with this stuff to mount anything, I'm gonna highly recommend you putting on a pair of gloves, because this stuff is basically like fiberglass, and if you work with it, you'll start getting all those little fibers into your fingers and hands, and it'll be itching and all that kind of stuff. This helps to prevent that. Also, with this exhaust wrap, there's two different sides to it. There's an actual sewn edge into it, and that's designed to help keep it from fraying nearly as bad. And also, you have to kind of consider where you're mounting this stuff and like everything that's going to be passing over or around it. For instance, our side pipes, car's gonna be headed that way, so whenever you wrap it, you don't want the steps, if you will, to be leaning to the front side. You kind of want it to shed off its back or off the side of it, kind of like a duck's feathers in a way. So that means we're gonna start here on the back and work forward. Now, let's see here, we'll grab one of these ends. This one's kind of has that string that we should cut off there, but I'm not gonna get up and to cut it. So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna look on the edge. There's our sewn side. And then what I prefer to do is to take and fold one of those edges over. And you can take and actually fold it a little bit to this side, because whenever you go to wrap, you'll cover this edge up. And I also prefer to have the little fold, if you will, on the back side, because otherwise when you come back around, I can kind of show you that let's call it a knot or lump will be exposed. See what I mean? So just for a little bit cleaner look, we'll put it here on the back side. And then hold one end and pull it relatively taut. You want it as tight as possible. Now, this piece is tremendously long, and I probably should have got a shorter piece to show you all, because it's going to take wrapping this thing around here a couple of times. But I also want it to be authentic. I want you guys to get your money's worth, because you know, it's just the way it should be. And then pull this thing. Now when you first get started, this is where you really have to pay attention. What you're looking for is about 1/4 inch of an overlap or so. There's no reason to come all the way out to here. One, it's just excess material. And two, it will take a tremendous amount of time to cover this entire piece. So, again, they can pull it. Still holding this one. Keep her pulled tight. I've also taken on these and kind of done this a few times. That way it makes it a little faster as you're going across. So, grab this piece again, make sure it's tight. Hold this piece up. I also like to try to pull that fabric apart and kind of maximize its width. Plus, it helps to keep everything nice and uniform. Trying to maintain that 1/4 inch lap, guys. Hold her tight. This is one of them things that I actually enjoy this, because you get to see some return on your efforts. Plus it looks pretty cool. Now we're just gonna stop right up here. But you can see what I mean as far as your little steps that you're looking for. You don't want them to be this way, you want them to be that way. So the air and stuff coming across kind of skips across the tops, not getting hung up on each lap. But what's great about this type of stuff, also guys, I've seen car running in the vehicle and you could actually lean and touch the header. I'm not going to recommend that, but I'm just saying I've touched it before in the middle of doing something and I didn't get burned. This stuff's pretty neat, and it helps to lower the exhaust temps in the engine bay and or the engine bay temps, because of it kind of contains the heat in the exhaust. Plus it looks killer, and I really dig the way this stuff looks against our green. So it's a little small demonstration, and it looks pretty cool. So we'll take this off. Now we can move on to the next thing. Oh yeah. Y'all ready for this? Check out what I got. Now you guys know that I've been kind of going down the path of keeping this thing as Dodge or as Mopar as possible. So I finally got myself a Roadrunner horn. For those of you who don't know, this thing sounds like that cartoon character, and it come on those cars back in the day. Now as a kid, hearing those little beep beep horns was kind of a thing that I grew up listening to. My old man telling me the stories and then seeing a few of the old cars. And this is one of the things that I really like about a Dodge, or with Dodge's marketing. Those guys have a lot of fun with it. Not saying their marketing makes them superior, but they're having fun. And that's what these old things are all about, because we know a Hellcat 700 horsepower power plant and a Winnebago isn't very practical, but it sounds like a good time, right? Right. So I'm gonna put one of these on here and surprise my little guy about it, because we've been talking about it and it just makes him chuckle, if you will. Now, the install on this is as basic as it gets. All it has is one mounting location, and it has this little tab from the factory that would keep it from spinning. Whether or not we use that isn't mandatory. I want this thing in a highly visible spot too. The grill in this thing kind of protrudes right out through here, so somebody walking up, they can see that I've got myself an accessory. So we're gonna have to drill a hole. That ain't hard to do. Guess I need to get the drill though first. The correct procedure for installing a Roadrunner horn is find and locate the mounting area. Indicate where hole needs to be drilled. Next, drill this hole. I need a sharper drill bit. Ooh. Does anybody else have people abuse your drill bits? I'm not saying I'm the easiest on these things, but I can tell you there's not much more frustrating than a dull drill bit, because you got to sit there and babysit it. And feels like you're just trying to physically push it through the piece of metal you're drilling into. Pilot hole complete. Got him. Make sure our alignment is correct. Pretty close. Now with this, guys, I got a bolt, a little bitty 1/4 inch dude here. And I'm also using a flange nut here on the back. I like using these instead of nylon locks. One, it is technically a lock nut. Plus, it's got those little teeth in there that help ensure a lot better of a ground. Torque to spec. That should do it. Now I left my wire a little bit long when I was wiring up this thing, because I really didn't know exactly where I was going to mount that thing. But now I do. Yep. And for the sake of it being a little bit more fun looking, after I get this thing on here, I want to wrap up the end to make it kind of look like a wire that would be on a bomb. For this thing to look like it's on a bomb, I'm just gonna wrap it around here. This does a couple of things. Is one, it looks pretty cool, and then two, tightens up a lot of that excess wire. See what I mean? Old Wile E. Coyote would be proud of me right there. We'll have to dress that stuff up. We'll do that a little later. Let's see if it works. Let me hook the battery up. That's awesome. That's so cool. Now disconnect this battery and we can move on. So excited. This is what this stuff's about. It may sound a little cheesy, got a goofy horn on it, but that's great. That's freaking great. And I almost guarantee you I'm gonna get tired of that thing with Hammerman. He's gonna be like, hey, let me show you the horn. Beep, beep. Every time we stop and see something, that ain't gonna be tired. This is gonna be awesome. Whew. Moving on. Have you guys ever had a Christmas gift that you got and you never used it? And let's say it came from the wife, and you know how it goes. They bring it up all the time, even around company. I've never had one of those. No, seriously, got me a CB. Got one of these things for a Christmas gift for my family, and like I was saying, it's been brought up a few times, like, when you gonna install it? And I said, it just hasn't hit the right vehicle. I think this thing's like 5 years old, 6 years old. But now the time has arrived, and so has the vehicle. Now, some of the most fun I've ever had is just listening to people on a CB. And I know this is old technology and everybody now's got cell phones and all that kind of jazz, but if you want to be entertained, you need to pick yourself up one of these, put it in your car, and go on a road trip. Now, we're also on this thing, we're gonna put this little puny antenna on it. Yep, it's not very long. I think it's 102 inch. It's chrome, it's pretty cool. And I am gonna install it here on the passenger side. Now, originally, I was gonna put it on the driver's side. This thing's got a little bit of flex to it, and I was afraid of hitting oncoming traffic. And I don't need nobody chasing me down in a semi truck, ticked off, talking about candy canes. Not interested. Now, also on that thing, we've got another accessory. I'm talking accessories and accessories. This is a raccoon tail. It's real. It's a real fake one. But you can pet it though. It's kind of soft. Ah, sorry, that was kind of weird. But apparently this one liked to dress up and had some ribbon on it, and that's what we're going to use to attach it to the back side of this thing. Now, this kit I got is pretty elaborate. Comes with a bracket, AKA kind of a clamp. A lot of times folks take these type of clamps and put them on them West Coast mirrors. But I couldn't imagine having that along with a 101, 102 inch CB antenna. Man, you could dial in the sky pretty quick. Now, I do have a funny story for you. Like I was telling you guys, whenever we was on a road trip, I was listening to these fellers, and next thing you know, one of them was asking about if there was any cures for jock itch. The guy wound up saying, yeah, pretty easy cure. All you need is icy hot. It works, you should try it. Need my marker. He's out looking for his buddy. One down, 3 more to go. One thing that's kind of neat about this Winnebago, this thing has a door on it. I thought it opened earlier. I won't. There's a wasp nest in there too. No kidding. My wife was to see those, she would flip out. Gotta stay calm, oh. Gotta stay calm. Ugh. Sure hope there ain't one of them rattle-headed copper moccasins in there. It's one of them like, ah, jeez! Just kidding, there really ain't nothing in there. But everybody at home just was like, oh God, what happened? What do they call it? Called wolf? I think that's what that's called. Now I do want to make sure this thing is like level. So I grabbed this little angle finder. See how far off I was. 0, 0. Awesome. Seen that flop, I thought something just crawled out of there. Not that I was afraid. I was just being cautious. Not gonna lie, it is a little spooky in there. Thinking about what critter may be in there. My hand just hit one of them nests. And they made my skin crawl just a little bit. Looking in there too, this thing's got a considerable amount of rust. I probably need to treat that. Not happening. Close that door. Oh yeah. Good as new. Need to tighten that up and we can install that antenna. Man, yeah. Do, 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 do. Now I've got some smooth jaw pliers here. I'm gonna try to just snug everything up. I don't want it crazy tight. And I don't want to bust the chrome and stuff on it either. That'll cause it to start rusting in a hurry. Now we need that antenna. See if there's some instructions. Download instructions. From the way it looks, ugh. I don't know if you're supposed to. I ain't got time to download instructions. So, I guess with me saying that, I can't tell them, like, reach out for a warranty. Like, this thing blew off when I hit 105. It's completely not acceptable. Well, I think I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to use a little bit of some engineering, which consists of tying a knot and about to tie a knot and it come off the antenna my first day. Critter on me, like so. And then electrical tape. It's that easy. That electrical tape keep everything nice and put. Get most of that hair out of the way. Now for the sake of it sticking better than worse, I'm going to just start it a couple of times, like so. I have to come up with a name for this coon, or this raccoon tail. It'd be like Clyde. Pull that down here. Y'all remember the first time you ever tried to tear electrical tape? I do. Watched my old man take that stuff and tear it and do his thing, and he's like, tear me off a piece of electrical tape. I'll demonstrate for you. you know, they just take that and then go and hand it to you. It's that easy. But when you're like 8-year-old and you take that thing and he says, hand it to you, and then you go like this, and you're like, I don't know what happened. This thing's too long. Yeah. Joys being a dad. Sure, I'm glad mine had a lot of patience. Look at that. Whoo-wee. So we're probably gonna have some kind of animal rights activist that gets all worked up because there's a raccoon tail hanging off the backside of this antenna. I wonder if they're gonna like still be mad at me whenever they realize it's synthetic. Cloud was a good one though. So y'all tell me, how's it look from over there? Does it look pretty awesome? It almost looks like I need to find a bigger raccoon. We may have to opt for a foxtail, because that one's just kind of puny. I mean, it looks fine on a Model A, but this old RV is about 7 sizes bigger than a Model A. It's gonna look pretty cool going down the road though, especially when it's laid back. This is so much fun, decorating. Yeah. It brings me joy. Not gonna lie. It's a pretty important day today. It's hard to believe that this is my first time, but it really is, that I get to install my Barefoot gas pedal. I know. I mean, these are so, what could you say, big of a deal that they've actually been in movies and stuff. And for those of you who know that this thing is awesome. Now, this little Hellcat-powered RV needs the coolest stuff ever to make it awesome. Awesomer. Now, this thing basically kind of clamps into place. When you're looking at it, it won't bend. So, we're gonna need us some screws. But man, that's gonna be awesome when we're done. Yep. Need a screw about 1 inch long or so. Heck yeah. Let's go get some hardware. Now, say you're gonna install a Barefoot gas pedal. Sounds a lot easier than it really is. I picked this gas pedal up a long time ago at a swap meet and paid like $2 for it or something. You can buy them new from Holly or Mr. Gasket. It was kind of just one of them pieces that you just talk about like, man, I gotta check out what I bought. This thing's so cool. And it was missing the hardware, all the stuff it takes to attach it. So I made that bracket. And so what I'm doing, I have attached these screws and in efforts to, let's see, spin these out real quick. It gives me all that much room. I'm going to slide that thing up over that pedal and then spin these little nuts up, and then I can clip these ends off the excess. And basically I just engineered studs onto this thing. And I don't want it to come off whenever I stomp the gas pedal by any means. So you want to make sure it's, you know, taut, tight, not slipping. Especially whenever you think about something like this, and if you had to get off the gas and on the brakes, you don't want to get all tangled up in it. So yeah, somebody else may be driving this other than me, so I don't want to put anybody in any harm's way. But shoot, look at that engineering. I think that'll work just fine. folks. This makes me laugh. So makes me laugh. Brings me joy. I just recently learned that there was a company, I think it was Enco maybe is the name, which is a company that made accessories like this way back when. Everybody's heard of the Barefoot gas pedal and even the Barefoot headlight dimmer, but they made, that Enco company, a Barefoot shifter knob. And after I was told about that, I told myself, I've got to have one of those. So that's new for me to be on my search list of things I got to have. Just squishing her down. Shoot, I bet this added at least 20 more horses. Hellcat ain't gonna know how to act getting cool accessories like this. I wonder how many people out there watching this show has ever had one of these in one of their vehicles. Shoot, Mike told me a story about his grandmother had one of these in her, I think it was her Buick. She had a big old Buick Electra. She had a Barefoot gas pedal, and I said, that woman had to be amazing. He said, oh yeah, you know it, man. That's pretty tight. That's what I like to see. This thing's gonna get its workout, guaranteed. Neil, you're scaring me over there. Shoot, boys, we almost done. Try it out. Yes, sir. Dang, that's tight, too. Call that a success. Now I want to clip off these ends. Y'all know I'm not the best about tying my shoes. I don't want them to get hung up into my shoelaces. Heck yeah. That Barefoot installation was brought to you by the Tommy Boshers. That old hammer and hubcap, and my wife is going to get a kick out of that. It's a little crooked. Shoot. Looks just fine to me. I dig it. I wonder what it looks like on camera. Looks pretty awesome. I was on Facebook Marketplace, kind of scrolling around as folks do when you're bored, and I found something that I just had to have. And when I seen it, it kind of spoke to me. You know, I'm one of them people, like, you know, certain people go shopping and all that kind of stuff, and you hear other people complain about, let's just be transparent here. When your lady goes shopping, you know what I mean, and then they come back and they talk about it was either a good deal or they just had to have it. That's exactly, I can totally relate, because that's what happened with the things right inside of here. Now, when I bought these, I knew the place. I instantaneously said, my baby, this Winnebago, needed these. And it's actually sparked kind of a collection that I've kind of dabbled in. So without further ado, ta-da. Check those out. These are authentic Roadrunner mud flap. And I know the size of this mud flap isn't necessarily the size that this thing needs to cover both wheels, but the statement that this thing makes, it's perfect. I mean, just, you can't get any better than this. So, I had to have them. I couldn't pay the person fast enough. They shipped them to me instantaneously. As soon as they showed up, I ripped the box open, ripped them out of the thing. It had a handle on it. It basically was a casualty during the inspection, but man, these things are awesome. Now, I've already done a little bit of some preliminary type work. And I fabbed up this fancy little bracket, which consisted of some 1/8 inch flat bar. Comes the time to put these things on. And folks, I've had these things probably 9 months or so waiting for today. Just do a quick little mock-up here. See what y'all think. We're gonna put that dude about right there. From where I'm sitting, spectacular. And you gotta think too, we're coordinating. We got a little beep beep here, we got a little beep beep up front. Shoot, there may be a little more beep beeping going on here and there. Don't judge. Now we gotta put some hardware in. I want that thing as far out here as possible. Let's take that right now. Yep, there's some holes. Shoot, we're just gonna make some new ones back here. Set that where it needs to be. Make a mark. Heck yeah. Not drill through my leg. That would be definitely a priority. I really thought about crying wolf again. Right there in the middle of that, yelling, yow! I've got a couple of washers here that I'm gonna put through here, and they're bigger than the hole. I'm gonna put another washer here on the back side of the metal piece. And then I'm gonna use a nylon lock nut. The reason for that is because it has that little plastic band there on the back that basically keeps that nut from backing off of it. If you used a regular style lock washer, like a wedge type, it takes a lot to compress this thing. With this deal, you can run it down and actually have that bolt where it's just kind of just barely squeezing on here, and that bolt and nut will never loosen up. That also helps to prevent, if you over tighten this trying to use that regular flat, you can actually pinch this rubber and cause it to fatigue as it's grinding down the road and it starts to flopping. It can break around there and then your mud flap will fall off of it. So using that little nylon lock and just squeezing it tight enough to keep it from being floppy loose, you're from trying to have to buy a second set of mud flaps. Now if we lined everything up, it should go in there, kind of like so. Don't take much. A little more. So Lucy. Just a taste more. That's her. Come on now. Should have got a longer bolt. We're about there though. Another crank or so. Jeez. I calibrated all's out of whack. Ah, rookie. Did y'all notice? Didn't put the washer on there. It's just because I'm so excited about them Roadrunner mud flaps. Yep. Come on, baby. It's therapy, guys. Get to do stuff twice. Good practice. Let you know if you're second run. Just taste more. Oh, look at there. I dig it. Made pretty good progress. Sitting there looking at my big old creation behind me in preparations to show some more accessories, if you will. Kind of's got me thinking pretty much. I don't know if I should put 1, 2, or 4 of these horns on this thing. Like I originally want to put them up here on the sides, kind of both sides, but you know, I couldn't get the big one, so I had to settle for these. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Should you put 4 of them on there? Should you just put none? Put 1 on there? I know I went ahead and got me a big fancy compressor and a tank from Summit, and I've already spent the money for that. Probably ought to go ahead and put the thing on there. And it's also got me thinking, like, you guys, you see this much. Do you think it might screw up my aerodynamics of that thing back there? Like if I put them on there, it may create turbulence that we just can't have that. I mean, that thing is, I mean, it's slippery as a watermelon seed. We put them on there, it might slow us down. It's also got me thinking, what if you flip this thing around backwards? It would look odd, but with enough horns, it could actually push the Winnebago faster whenever you sit down on that horn. It's just food for thought. And I want to make sure that we think this through 100% before we just go to screwing things to the side of here. So I think we may just call it a day right now. If any of you scientific folks out there could push some educated thoughts out of here, I'd appreciate it. But I think I'm gonna go find me a bean, soak up the rest of the day. Oh yeah, y'all keep it between the ditches.